Our top story tonight, some going down in November.
Wars, spending.
There has got to be something big a-brewing.
They're using geese to guard prisons in Brazil.
Does Biden know what Mexico
policies.
is? Would you scare Joe Biden? What are we laughing at?
I think Billy Mays was real.
I'm a world-class skeptic.
I don't know anything about Hunter Biden. I don't know who's big into cocaine and laptops. Why is that our problem?
Complete, absolute incompetence. Like, who funds the news? It's a freaking inside job, man. That the entire world's a stage and everything's fake.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Veritas Road. Guys, Carson, your host, back here with John, and then we have Stacks. I don't actually know your real name. Stacks and Drew with Stacks Farmstead podcast here with us tonight. Guys, how's it going?
What up?
Happy to have you guys.
Happy Juneteenth.
Dude, it is. Happy Juneteenth. Happy Gay Pride Month. I made myself a Negroni in a nice, cute glass to celebrate both. I felt like it was a good, just like marriage of both worlds. And so we're just going to have some fun tonight. We're going to talk about happy, Juneteenth Pride, transatlantic, gay, Semitic, Pacific Islander, teachers appreciating faggots, whatever people do out there. So before we get started, real quick, tell everybody where they can find you guys.
My name is Stack from Stack's Farmstead, X YouTube and Rumble. We do a lot of different things. There's a show every Wednesday called The Shit Show, which is a lot of fun, but it's nothing like the other stuff that's produced on the channel. There's a lot of farm content on that channel. And Drew is usually with me when he can be, typically, and when like Brooklyn isn't on fire or something.
There's far and few in between. Shit Show co-host on X and Luminary Mixdown on Instagram is where you can find me.
Nice. All right. Well, folks, real quick before we get going, do check us out here on the Veritas Road every Tuesday for Touch Me Tuesdays, live at 7 p.m. Central Time, where we talk about the things that touched us that week, and hopefully we can touch you too. I feel embarrassed saying that every time we have a guest. And then if you like the show, want more of the show, go check out the Patreon that John is scrolling through right the fuck now. Go check that out. Sign up if you want. We've got a bunch of tiers. Get in where you fit in. We've got Bim Baumgardner from the End of the World News podcast, hopefully coming on Wednesday, the 24th. That should be a good time. I haven't heard back from him, though, and his Twitter account got hacked, so we're still waiting to figure out if we're on for that. And then we have... Who else do we have? John?
Berean Files is coming up in
July
10th at 7 p.m.
Right. July 10th, 7 p.m., the Berean Files is going to be talking about symbolism. And we may get into like the nature of blood in occult symbolism and like in the church. That should be interesting. Very excited about that. So tonight, Stacks, I know you guys normally start out with a prayer on your show. We may need that tonight. Do you want to help us out with a quick prayer to pray that we don't get fucking canceled in the next 10 minutes?
Absolutely. I'm going to do my best to get you canceled too.
Lord, I appreciate that.
Guide my words tonight. Help us do your will now and forever. Amen. I just have to say, like, I watched the intro and I thought I was on a different show. Neither one of you looked the fucking same from that intro.
Well, the other guy in it's my brother who used to do the show with us.
Okay, good, because I thought it was loose. I'm looking and I'm like, what happened? What the hell happened?
Yeah, we keep saying we need to make a new intro sting, but it's a pain in the ass and we're lazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's his brother who, oh gosh, Murph hasn't been on a show in 3 or 4 months now, I think.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
More than that.
He produced all the music for it. He was playing the guitar in the background. So
yeah.
Cool. Yeah. It must be nice to have somebody to produce music.
It helps. It was just me and him sitting in our old studio with him playing and me just trying to guide him through. It was terrible. It was fucking awful, but we got it out and it sucks, but it's there. and we're calling it good on that front, I guess. Yeah.
It's a bit of an inside joke between me and Drew because he's literally in a studio right now, and he has all the capability to produce music and has never produced a note for the show. So
Wow.
until he does, I got to keep throwing stingers at him every time it comes up.
Yeah, we're still at an impasse on exactly what is wanted and required for that. But
fair enough. That tracks.
it is in the works, and that's all I'll say.
Check's in the
Sounds
mail.
like there's some. The what?
What happened?
Check is in the mail. That's what that is. He
check
told me
is-
the check is in the mail.
That tracks. That tracks. So, guys, it is it's Gay Pride Month and Juneteenth, and in keeping with that, we have our first video of what I think is a person. I'll let the listeners decide what they think this is. Sharing a little bit about what Juneteenth means to her.
Oh shit!
John, what the hell?
I'm clicking horribly wrong buttons.
Black people at all the non-black to the back. The Juneteenth
Shit.
flag. It's the real Juneteenth flag. Celebrate Juneteenth. Come on. Where are all my black people?
I saw that earlier today, and I had to force that on some other people. But I took the liberty of trying to figure out what the hell Juneteenth was, because it appeared to show up out of fucking nowhere to us in Tennessee. Maybe that's because everybody here is racist. I don't really have a good answer for you on that score. But best I could figure out, it's from apparently so Abraham Lincoln passed like the Emancipation Proclamation or whatever in 1863, allegedly, if you believe history. And then it apparently took 2 years for that news to make it all the way down to Galveston, Texas in 1865. And so my issue here is that I don't feel like Juneteenth is as much about racism as it is just how shitty our mail system is. I don't know how to feel about that at all. And in keeping with, I guess, the theme of tonight, I took the time to look up, because we're four white guys talking about some racial stuff. I asked Google, how does a white person celebrate Juneteenth? And I got some answers, if anybody's curious. So it told me white people are allowed to say Happy Juneteenth. Okay. But you want to make sure it's not to a stranger or an acquaintance whose feeling about the holiday may vary. Here's what I found super interesting about what it had to say. Focus on sincerity. When saying Happy Juneteenth, approach the greeting from a place of genuine respect and historical awareness, rather than treating it like a casual holiday like the 4th of July. Now, what I find a little weird about that AI-generated summary is this weird thing we have going on now with, I don't know, all the nationalism that used to seem to be the case, right? We have this like Trump faction that's super nationalistic, and then we have this other faction that's obviously pushing these woke narratives like Juneteenth, and it makes me wonder, like this kind of AI response makes me wonder what's next after all this very nationalistic stuff we have coming up. Like we've got the big 4th of July celebration coming up. Maybe some aliens are going to show up. Y'all have any thoughts on that?
I'm kind of tripping out that AI referred to the 4th of July, particularly for the 4th of July Independence Day, as a casual holiday.
Right.
It's not like Easter or something like that, but yeah. Fuck AI. I'm not with all
Juneteenth. Fuck Juneteenth. And AI and Google, because I don't need your fucking permission to say anything to anybody, you piece of shit. I can't wait till this whole fucking thing gets burned down. We got to start burning down more data centers as we speak.
When is that motion going to become a thing, like attacking data centers? I feel like that's coming, right?
I mean, they're scared of it. That's for sure. The people that are building them or they're scared of it, which should tell you everything you need to know. That like before, rumblings of like people are like, we don't want this, but as they're building them, the people that own them are like, we need legislation to make sure people can't attack them. Well, that should tell you everything you need to know for the future.
Yeah. Holy shit. I didn't realize they were passing legislation to keep. I mean, I figured just like regular, hey, don't blow up a building would have been enough to keep those safe.
You know what they're worried about is drones. So the guy, there's a clip of it. He says somebody could buy a $3,000 drone and fly it into the data center and destroy everything, which isn't the brightest way to approach it by giving ideas to people. But apparently he went and said that. So, and he was saying that in the way that he was trying to get lawmakers to begin the process of making it even more punishable if you attempt it.
Holy shit. We see that. You see that even with vaccines. Like we saw the same thing back in the 80s where they passed a shitload of legislation saying, hey guys, these things are so important, so necessary. Even if you experience an adverse event, these guys aren't criminally liable if you sue them for like reactions to vaccines.
Yeah. And then today, the hell was her name? Tulsi Gabbard. On her way out the door on her last day, released a bunch of information about Fauci and how they knew what the vaccines were capable of. And I retweeted it, and I'm just like, yeah, that's great. Thanks for the tweet. Like, start arresting people. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're going to show us, look, we have evidence of this guy committing a crime, which equates to massive amount of fraud and murder, right? But like, you're just going to tweet about it on your last day out. Like that's what we're going to get. So yeah, good times.
Well, I mean, that's all any of this stuff is anymore. Like, be it the Juneteenth bullshit, all the like gay pride month nonsense. But even with the more, I guess, more real concepts like Fauci, like these data centers, we've been driven to a point where instead of doing anything, I mean, we've talked about this probably on our show ad nauseum, but like instead of doing anything about, Epstein, like John and I both said this a shitload. Like if people really had legitimate feelings about what was going on with people fucking a bunch of children, right? Thought it was real and thought they could do something about it, people would be marching on Washington or, whatever their state capital is tomorrow. But nobody's doing that. Nobody's ever going to throw anybody in jail. And so people's energy essentially gets funneled into just sitting behind your phone like a Karen bitch, just tweeting like, I'm going to tell that son of a bitch what's what. I'm going to tell him where to shove his fucking cock, that piece of shit. And it turns into this like useless gesture of just bitching into the void. And I don't even know how to move away from that because, I mean, what do you do instead of doing that,
Welcome to my world. This is what I have to deal with regularly when I'm trying to explain to people about how the food is poison and you should grow your own food and you should take the opportunity to, start learning to do things for yourself because essentially no one's going to do it for you. And that's where we're at right now with everything. The people have fallen for bread and circus so hard that the UFC fight was enough to make them forget about child abuse at a minimum. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it's really insanity. And again, the only way I get any alleviation is when I'd go on my show and rant about it, and then I just go and do my own thing. That's my therapy. I put it out there for the world, and almost nobody does anything about it for themselves. And then I just keep it moving because that's where we're at. I mean, that's basically the U.S. in a nutshell. Until things get personally rough for people, none of this stuff's going to change. None of it. Until you can't get something or your money isn't going as far and people become uncomfortable, bread and circus. They're fat and they're entertained. and that's going to be enough for them to do whatever they want to do.
That's true. Drew, you look like you had something.
No, I mean I'm just agreeing. It's one of those things where you get comfortable, and you get comfortable, you get lazy, and you become weak. And it's hard to at that point. "Oh, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow now, be independent. I'm gonna start doing everything for myself." When your whole life or the previous decades, the mentality has only been, well, no, there'll be bread on the shelf tomorrow. My money
Mm-hmm.
will be in the bank tomorrow. I'll be able to get gas tomorrow, and things will get better. And sometimes they do. And it's a big seesaw. We've seen a lot of hard times, and we seem to always bounce back in terms of like wars and economy. But there is going to be a breaking point or a great reset that is going to completely shake shit up in a way that is going to change everyone's lives. And if you're not like at least mentally aware and somewhat prepared, a lot of people are going to lose their minds and not know how to act, and won't be able to survive. And I mean, it'd be great if it didn't happen in our lifetime, but it's every day I wake up, I kind of feel like, okay, yeah, this is more realistic, that it's not going to be 60 years from now. It's going to be probably within the next decade, and it could be any time within that decade. But I feel like 10 years from now is when we're going to see something major happen, and it's just about when and to what degree. Are we going to wake up and it's just going to be this kind of, well, to save the country, we have to, everybody's going to get a digital ID, and everybody's going to get an allowance. It doesn't matter what you do with your job, and how they're going to force that. And then let's not forget, none of that is going to go down without a hitch. There's going to be rioting, looting, mass chaos, which there already is today over like the Knicks winning. So imagine when it's over real things like can't pay the rent, can't feed your kids or get the medicine for your sick child or whatever it is, and shit is really going to explode, and it's not going to be able to be contained. So it's just a really good idea to at least have somewhere, at the minimum, have somewhere you could regroup and try to figure things out, mentally, emotionally, physically. If you have a space, something off the grid would be ideal, because it's coming. There's no if and if and the buts about it. It's just really about when and how bad and to what extreme.
Curious, like, do you guys feel it? Do you guys feel like that there's something happening?
Yeah, I mean, and Drew kind of mentioned a little bit like that kind of boom bust cycle you were talking about. Like it's set up in a way almost like perfect where people don't notice it because it's like, you'll go through like, tough times, right? But you always bounce back. But that where you bounce back to is not the point you were before everything like went down. Right. So it's like you're coming back to a lower spot, then it'll happen again. You're coming back to a lower spot, then it'll happen again. You're coming to a lower spot. And eventually you get to the point where like that's not sustainable, right? And there isn't like any type of like back up the hill. And I feel like we're getting closer and closer to that point because it's like you look at political culture, you look at the economy and how like this generation is doing financially. It's like none of this is sustainable, right? Like politics has become this like retarded like entertainment thing, right? Nobody's really taking it seriously, right? So their illusion of control is kind of slipping away. The dollar's gone to shit. People are struggling to afford, like people in my generation are struggling to afford rent. They're never going to really have any realistic shot at owning anything like their parents or their grandparents did. And like that has to come to a point and come to a head at some point because it's like that's not sustainable, right? Because it's like the benefits that sustain the order up to that point are no longer there. So yeah, I do think that I do kind of feel that like something's on the horizon in that regard.
Share
Dude,
something
that's
real quick as a little bit of insight. So, like, I get it's because I'm 47 now. I may not look it, but I'm 47 now. And it's been a long road. I say that because where I started from wasn't like I didn't actually even try to do anything as far as be productive in life until my early 30s. And when John's saying about the generations not having a chance, I would just want to add that your chance is not going to look like the previous generation's chance.
Yeah.
You have to think outside the box.
Yeah.
You have to kind of think about, because the example I'd like to give is that I bought like a fixer upper house cash. Like I was in a shitty studio apartment, but was happy as hell to have it, just to have a roof over my head for years. And I saved up and saved up and saved up. And I found a shitty fixer upper, which was, listen, like you could live in this place, no problem. No one's going to think anything differently, but it was like the type of place that needed upgraded badly. Right. And I bought it in a neighborhood in a small town that I'd never even been before. I just seen it on, I think it was Craigslist back then. And dude was trying to sell it or rent to own or something like that. I went out and I looked at it. Now I have a background in construction, so like I know I could fix this no matter what it is. But that's why I would say part of it is get your skill level up while you have time. Learn to fix things, learn to make things, and take the opportunities that are given, and don't try to mimic what other generations did as far as go to the bank and get the biggest, nicest house at the end of the cul-de-sac. Because if you would try to attempt to do that, that's probably not going to be your best option going into the future. My idea was, what can I afford? Because if the bottom falls out of this shit and you can't make it to work, the bank still wants their money. So, what can you just buy? What can you just buy? What can you just fix? And kind of work through it like that. I mean, I get it, dude. Like, I feel it's so fucked up that like these generations now actually say it out loud that like they don't have a chance. They don't have a chance. No. And that's what they believe. And they keep telling themselves that. And because they keep telling themselves that, they won't.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, as you're saying, it's like, it's kind of shifted to the point to where it's like, hey, if you want to like accomplish anything, you have to do it independently kind of the systematic order that like the previous generations had. And that's kind of proof to me that, oh, this stuff is going away, because it's like, that's not providing the same to people that it was like providing to their parents and their grandparents. So those people who are having to like, do what you did, do it completely independently, right? Not relying on some type of corporate system, just on your own skills. Eventually they're going to get to the point where, well, why do I care about why do I care about the political system? Why do I care about like the corporate system or the banking system? Why do I care about any of that? It's not doing anything for me. I don't have any need for it. And then like, that's where you're going to get to that heading point that we've been talking about, I think.
One upside real quick to having a situation that's similar to what I'm trying to explain is that it gives you the opportunity to say no when you previously couldn't.
Yeah.
That's one of the most important things for me trying to relay any of this stuff. When you're in the system and when you owe and all these things, right? Like you're over a barrel and you don't have the opportunity to say no. For example, take the vax or you're fired.
Yeah.
You can say no when you're not dependent.
Yeah.
So I mean, just if anybody has not ever heard that before that's listening to this, sit on that for a while.
No.
Dude, that's such fucking good advice, because I mean, any bargainer, that's not a word. Any negotiator will tell you like the best bargaining chip you have is being able to say no. But most people out there don't find themselves, myself included, don't find themselves in a position to be able to say no and walk away from whatever life it is they're leading. I mean, I've been lucky enough, like when we touched on this a little before we started the stream, when I had a job in clinical research with a big pharmaceutical research company. They're called Icon. They're based out of Dublin, Ireland. They're the biggest one in the world. They were one of the ones developing like the Pfizer vaccine during the Rona back in 2020. I was lucky enough that while I worked for them, like I was a single guy, nobody depending on me, a shitload of student loan debt, but who gives a fuck? And when they said, hey, take this, or essentially we're just going to like freeze you here in this position or you may get fired, I was like, well, I'm just going to leave. I'm going to go bartend and be a piece of shit, but at least I won't have whatever disgusting thing that you're selling to, you know, the mass populace in my body. Like, that was my best bargaining chip with those people. And in that case, like, I had to walk away. Immediately had to walk away. Sometimes that's your only option. And if you don't have some kind of stable foundation to be able to land on, then the fear is where they get you. Like, I'm a firm believer in the fact that the spiritual powers that be, the creator will find a way to take care of the people who are his. It might not always look great. Like, it's not always going to look like fucking, you know, roses. My bathroom floor is falling apart right now. But it's the fact that most people, because of the sheer level of comfort we enjoy, and also I think to a large degree, we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, the degradation of like the masculine out in society, this inability for a lot of men out there to just do man things. We've lost the firm foundation that like good fathers provided, right? Because that's where a lot of kids jumped off and had successful lives, successful careers, had successful families is mom and dad, right? And some people, Stacks, it sounds like you're one of them, had to kind of find that foundation for themselves, but it's a whole hell of a lot easier if you start from a good place. But what we've seen over the last really century, more than a century, since they co-opted the education system with fucking Rockefeller and the Board of Education, is the family's breaking down, the school's your daddy, and you don't have a foundation to build off of to be able to actually like go out and make your own way and be able to say, fuck no, I'll go home and live on the fucking farm.
There's worse ways to live. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, even like the whole Juneteenth thing, it's like that doesn't exist where I am. So, you know, you on the internet, maybe in some in the cities, that's not a thing here. I don't know, you know, it's just people would laugh it off if you said it, you know? So,
right.
That's why I'm just like, you know, like this stuff that doesn't really matter. How many times in the Bible does it say, be not afraid?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, I mean, that should be the first thing to point to and be like, you know, I know what the right move is. It's going to suck because I don't know what's going to happen next, but, you know, make that move. It's, I know I did it whenever, look, I'm in the electrical union and they were about to throw me out of the electrical union. I was giving them both middle fingers. Fuck you. I don't care. Like, I don't know I know what this is. And I think that's part of the problem is people didn't actually know. Like they were engrossed. They were, whatever the TV said, they believed. So, you know, it wasn't as easy because they weren't so convinced. And then just now today, it's like, you know, everyone that knew already knew what was going on. But, you know, as time has gone on, the funny part is there's nobody that I told, don't take it. It's going to do this. This is what happens. None of them called to say, yeah, you were right. None of them. Not one single person. Not one person. My wife has an uncle that she grew up with in the same house. Like he's sort of like a dad figure to her, right? And he works for a bigger cellular company. I'm trying to keep the company quiet just so it doesn't get anybody in any trouble. But they made them all get the vax. All of them. 2/3 of the dudes are already dead.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know
from
if
it's heart-related issues.
Of course. Yeah.
I'm like, Neff Hunter, what's up, brother?
Neff.
And like, I didn't want to take your show on some tangent or anything, but like this is something that's like close. This is something, it was so obvious to me, just as obvious as all this stuff is that I'm talking about when I say grow your own food. It's just as obvious now for that when I'm like, you know, take care of yourself, grow your own food. Don't be dependent on them. You know, what are you going to do, man? You know, like sometimes people just aren't going to listen and the chips are going to fall where they may. The best thing I can do is just say what needs to be said.
Hell yeah. I think that's some of the most valuable shit you could tell anybody, is just say the hard, uncomfortable stuff. And the world we live in makes that borderline impossible. Fuck the Juneteenth stuff. That was just a gimmick to get us into the real conversation. And so one of the things that I mentioned to Drew before we started was this whole idea of like people, myself included, a lot of us seem to be finding ourselves kind of pulled between two worlds. Like there's this whole concept, again, biblical, but like this whole idea of like you can't serve God and mammon. You can't serve two masters. You'll hate the one and love the other. You'll love the one and hate the other. And again, like you're talking about this need to go out, to be at least to some degree self-reliant, to be able to say no, right? Because that's super valuable. You're never going to have the power that I think you should have as a person, as a created being. You're never going to have the power that you really should have in dealing with whatever these fucking entities are that control the corporation that you work for, whatever thing has, agency in your life. You're never going to have the power you need to be able to say no unless you are to some degree self-reliant. You have some world to fall back on. And from my perspective, and I'll be interested to hear y'all's takes on this, a lot of us, I think John's probably in this camp. I don't want to speak for you too much, John, but even his brother, myself, a lot of people in this world find themselves pulled between two very different paths. And it's this whole idea of, I could spend time engaging in, our show here, in trying to get the hell out of this shitty ass duplex I live in trying to find a place to live. But if I do that, I'm not going to have the money to actually do those things. Or I could focus on my corporate job and getting promoted and sucking my boss's dick and trying to make my way in corporate America. And then I'll have the cash I need to make this stuff happen, right? But I'm not actually doing this stuff and learning the skills I need to do the stuff. And so it's this constant battle back and forth between, attaining the fiat to do the things, and then but the time, devoting the time to do the things. And so I'm curious as to y'all's perspective on that. I mean, I know y'all come from very different situations. Stacks, obviously you're out there building your own homestead, making that life happen for yourself. Drew, you're in what, New York? Like fucking stuck in a concrete jungle. What does that look like from those two? Those are two completely separate worlds. We're talking about heaven and hell here. Like, how do you manage to live from day to day? Either one of you.
In Babylon.
I have no clue.
Drew's in the heart of Babylon, and he's trying to escape. You ever see that movie Escape from New York? That's sort of Drew's predicament. I always go back to this one meme where there was I brought this up when Owen Benjamin was on my show. There's that old meme. It's a clip of a movie. He said the name and I could never remember it, but the dude's like, he's in New York and he keeps saying how he wants to leave, but he feels like he can't. It's an old movie from like the 70s. But he starts to describe in this clip about how, what if, the walls to this place are invisible and we're the guards. And that's why you feel like you want to go, but you can't leave. No matter what you do, you want to get out of here, but you can't leave. Or if you go, you come back, right? Yeah. I honestly believe it revolves around, like, I grew up in Pittsburgh, dude. So like I grew up in the city and I knew nothing about this stuff. Nothing. I just seen the writing on the wall and I was like, it's game time. We have to do this. And I just jumped in. So I'll let Drew tell his perspective on it, but I just the answer for me to your question is that I can only tell you what I did, and it works. Take the resources that system that's slowly crumbling and use it to build the alternative, but that requires a ton of work. It means you have to be so committed that nothing's going to get in your way. Your mindset has to be constantly on, this has to get built, because it's going to be your arc, is the way I see it. In worst case scenario, nothing spectacularly bad happens. You have a farm and you're self-sufficient.
Yeah.
But that I'm saying, I go to work. I told you I'm in the electrical union. So like I go to work. Sometimes it's 10 to 12 hours a day. I don't even go straight home most days. My property's adjacent to my house. It's about a 7 or 8 minute drive away from my house. So you have to go down through town on the other side to get to it. I got a house and then I have my property and this building on the property. This building did not exist at all. It was all just woods when I got here. Complete woods. Nothing here at all. And it's completely off grid. The lights are solar, the water's rain collection, the septic tank, chickens and goats outside, and fruit trees in an orchard. None of that was there.
Hell yeah.
So I'm saying that because it's doable, but it requires a mindset that like this has to happen and I want it to happen and I'm going to make it happen. I think one of the things I always like to point out is like people say, my money, my money, my money. I understand that. I understand that mindset, but as a perspective, because I talk to Drew about this from time to time about different things. It's the lens that you see things through that's most important. If you can't grasp the situation differently than what you have, then nothing changes. So that money is not your money. You're using their money. Their name is on that money. Your name is not on that money. Take a look at a dollar bill and see if it says Carson, right? It doesn't. It says the United States government. So that's their money that you're using. Use it to build something that means something instead of trying to acquire their money in a pile that ends up being ones and zeros on a computer. So, I mean, you can take what still has value and build something that has real value that's tangible. And like I said, the worst case is that nothing extreme happens, but you have a good, reliable food source that doesn't come off of a shelf that if you've seen where this food was processed, even eggs, you wouldn't eat them. That's all I'd say is like, like you have to, it's that perspective. Is that it requires a ton of work unless you already have a lot of fiat to be able to just turn on a dime and start focusing on it. But you got to take the resources that the system has and turn it into something you need.
That makes total sense. Yeah. So I mean, Drew, you're in the exact opposite circumstances. It seems that whole life, like trying to balance. Because I mean, sure, maybe you don't have a homestead you're working on, but I'm sure you have other shit. You're here doing this.
Yeah,
that's a difficult balance to manage. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's a difficult balance, and I will say that when I was younger, I'm a lot older than I look too. I'm not a spring chicken, as they say. I love being from New York City, like prideful, like yeah, New York, Brooklyn. It was like there was no better place. That whole mindset, the chaos, a million people, always a melee. It was something that was very stimulating. But as far as other people I grew up around, I was one of the few that had an outlet. Like all my family moved away from New York when I was young. So I'm going to go visit my cousins and my uncle for the weekend, or I'm going to work a summer job at my, in my aunt's neighborhood. Everybody was in, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Florida. So I got tastes of different ways of life that when I was younger, I didn't really appreciate.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, yeah, that was a cool little weekend. But it was always like, I got to go back to New York. Like I need that stimulation. And then somewhere in my late 20s, from just all the trauma and all the shit. And like, you got the high paying jobs in New York. If you want to make a lot of money, this is where you stay. This is where you work. A switch flipped off in me where I woke up one day and I was just completely fucking sick of it, in the sense of the way of life, the attitude, the energy, the hustle and bustle of trying to like chase money. And people chase money everywhere. It's not, but this is like the capital of chasing money, your career. Who's got the biggest car? Who's got the nicest watch? Who's, all that kind of stuff. And there was this epiphany I had that I was just like, I was done with the allure of it. And I seeking to spend more of my time in places where it was a little more grounded. The simple things of being in nature, being around animals, smelling fresh air, were more
Yeah.
important, even though it was less stimulating. It's an adjustment. And, maybe working a job here in this area, where I'm making 90 to 100 something $1,000 in New York, I'm only making this, 50 or 60 in this other place. My whole mindset of quality of life
Mm-hmm.
changed. And unfortunately, being anchored by a career and family, all the only family I really have that I'm close to is here. And I wish I would have did a lot of things sooner, like resigning from my previous career, or doing other things with my money that I had planned on but just didn't manifest. Other things coming and tripping you up. And it's not too late, but I'm very much like over, like a lot of my friends now that haven't left New York are very comfortable, and they're like, they talk about moving away and doing something different and all. Yeah, my wife's brother has a house here in Pennsylvania or in Texas, and we go to visit, and this is where we're going to go when shit gets really bad. But they never truly want to genuinely make the change of like, well, are you planning any steps, or are you just talking about it?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to, like, I can't have these conversations with a lot of people that I live with in New York, because they'll yeah me, but they don't really connect with me because they have no actual real goal of doing it.
Yeah.
The kids are still in these shitty liberal run public schools, being brainwashed, even though my friends are not on that kind of time mentally, they still allow the participation of it. I gotta stay in New York because of this reason. And I'm totally checked out, and I really am looking forward to the day where I can break free from it and I don't want to say far away, because it doesn't have to be that far. It could be, an hour and a half, 2 hours away, and really focus on things like agriculture, farming, getting medical training. Um, of course, I want to make a lot of money. I want to, continue my music career and do these other things, but more so just finding myself at a place of peace. And this, even for me, with that mindset, I know there's going to be a challenge that when the time comes and I move away, it may take a week, it may take a month, where I may start to feel a little itchy, like, this is what I'm used to. I'm kind of institutionalized a little bit in this lifestyle of the city. And, my friends were here yesterday. Oh, we're going to go to this studio in Manhattan next week, and, come through, and, you're familiar with the equipment. And I just like, if I'm not getting paid, I'm not going to the city. Like, I got no fucking business in the city.
Sounds terrible.
I'm going to catch a case if I go to the city. It's fucking chaos. And it's like, some of them look at me funny, where it's not funny, but they look at me like, but it's part of the life that they have not changed the mindset about. And my mind is like 2-3 steps ahead. And it's a very lonely path. When you come from somewhere like where I come from, and you grew up here, and like that's all you've known, for the people where that's all that's known, it's a real challenge. Even if you want to change and you want to do it, and you might like, I got to get out of here, I got to do this. Actually knowing where to start and how to go about it, and not having anybody who's already done it to kind of like pick their brain and get different perspectives and like inspiration. It's a real hard thing, because pretty much everybody I associate with has played with the idea, house upstate, a house in Texas, like this is not for us. But everything they do on a daily basis, career-wise, is based on chasing this city fictional dream that doesn't exist anymore. And I kind of feel like I'm on a desert island, and like I look left, and like I see all the people I grew up with and the mentality here, and then I look to the right, and I see another shore with other people like Stacks, and like people who kind of have sailed away from it and started building. And it's like I'm being pulled, and it's like, and again, I have a very small amount of immediate family, and they all live here. So it's like, okay, I'm going to do this by myself. I'm going to move somewhere else foreign to me. I don't know. I don't really have any friends, unless I end up moving somewhere where they're in reach. I'm going to pretty much realistically leave my family behind. Maybe that's what needs to happen to motivate them. So it's just I toil with all these concepts and all these ideas, and it's very stressful because in the main center of it, unfortunately, we're living in this system where you need equity, you need finance to do these things. Even just to go out and look for property, I got to put gas in the car.
Yeah.
I just had my rear brakes and rotors changed for my mother. I took her car to the gas station 2 days ago to get her rear brake, and it's like a 2012 Toyota little like Matrix, like a little small car, $500 for the rear brakes and rotors, and then an oil change $50. It was like $600 just for that. So it's like this is just the system that we have to play in till we can kind of like free ourselves enough to be self-sustaining and live within your means and prepare for these things. So I'm in a transition period where I'm still kind of stuck, like my right foot in the mud, trying to pull my foot out. And it's very stressful, but the mind will conquer all. And, I'm very determined to do it. And luckily I have, people like Stacks that I can talk to about it and maybe give me ideas that I wasn't considering. Like, and I could like look at things that I hadn't thought of on my own because I am stuck behind this wall. When everybody I'm stuck behind the wall with is kind of has the similar aspect.
Yeah.
And it feels very lonely because in the bottom of my heart, I would abandon ship tonight. I'd pack my bags tonight if I could. If
Hell
it was
yeah.
a realistic thing where I wasn't going to be in a position where I'm going to be sleeping in a car that the heat doesn't work or the air condition doesn't work, and I got my pets and all my shit, and I got my relatives, so it's a hard thing, man. But
Give me 1 minute. I will be right back. Okay.
Yeah.
yeah,
No
go do
worries.
your thing. And I'll say this, during the height of COVID, I had a very sudden, unexpected, tragic thing happen, legal situation, the city of New York trying to, take my head, put my head on a spike kind of thing.
Shit.
Yeah, not getting into like crazy details, but they were trying to bury me under the jail for a figment of your imagination, of people who understand that term. And at the same time, it was
Damn.
like, people, all these companies, corporations. I work for city agencies where if you don't get the jab, you're going to be on, indefinite suspension. And I had a lot of friends who, married, 3 kids, a mortgage, summer camp, Little League, like literally their entire life hinged on their career. And they were forced to take it. And I was one of those people that I was like, nah, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm not taking a look. I mean, it was the fortunate misfortune of me not having, like, I don't have a wife and kid. It wasn't like if I have to live and sleep in my car tonight, it's just me. I got to deal with it. If I don't get 3 meals a day, it's just me. I got to worry about it. But if I got mouths to feed, I kind of felt like people torn between the two.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, I thought like life was taking a really crazy turn where it didn't matter what I did anyway. It was kind of like, all right, this is the city of New York, one of the most corrupt, criminal, unjust, unconstitutional justice systems, injustice systems. So, things were looking very bleak. So I was like, well, I'm not taking a shot. Fire me, do whatever you got to do. And, things turned out better, and things turned out pretty good in hindsight for what they could have been. But, that was just to kind of reflect on the, like, all right, I need money. Do I work and sacrifice I don't want to use the word pride. Do I sacrifice my beliefs to do something I don't want to do in order to sustain my life? And, when they got you by the balls like that, man, it's a good, I will give this to them, to the powers that be. It's a very good tactic. They're very cunning, smart, and a vindictive, devious cunt way about it.
Yeah.
But, for playing on that side of the field, man, they're really good at it. They are really, really, really good at it, enacting the fear and all that. But it takes a lot to not be one of the people to succumb to it. And I don't know many people where I'm from, relatives, friends who didn't. I could maybe name on one hand people that I know that didn't succumb to being forced to take a shot or do something they didn't want to do and kind of just stuck through it. And that those are far and few in between numbers. And I actually know some people who got the jab and told me afterwards that they regretted it. And they didn't say I was right. Yeah, you're right. Oh, I should have listened to you. They didn't go that far, but they did see. Oh, yeah, I just got the one. I'm not getting any follow-up boosters, and I shouldn't have did the first one. And I guess that was kind of like them meeting me halfway with saying I'm right.
Yeah, right.
But then,
suddenly this proud warrior, like, oh, I just got the one. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. I just got the one. I'm not doing the booster, and I'm like, all right. I mean, that's better than you. Still to this day lining up for every kind of flu shot, vaccine, and I haven't gotten.
Still see people wearing masks. People are still wearing masks today.
Fucking retarded.
Alone in their car, in a car driving with the windows up, alone with nobody in the car.
Well, and saying you just got the one shot is like, I just sucked the one dick. I'm still straight. I just sucked the one. I'm gonna maybe get another one later, but I just sucked the one. It's fine. Like, what the hell are you talking about?
I know you told me not to shoot myself with this pistol. And now that it hurts a lot, and it seems like there's some problems with that, I'm not going to do it again. I mean, what the? Yeah, great. The damage is done now. It doesn't really matter if you do it again.
Yeah, cat's out of the bag. Cat's fully out of the bag. And Drew, I mean, you mentioned something that I've even noticed in Colombia. A couple of things. Like, it does seem like larger metropolitan areas experience a much higher rate and like permeation of all of the mind control shit that seeded into the media. And I don't know if either of y'all have read like Mind War by Michael Aquino, From Psyop to Mind War. He wrote this paper where he essentially talks about like how psychological operations have to be like the first and foremost thing that the U.S. military does. And one of the big themes of that is talking about how people are more susceptible to psychological manipulation in areas where the ionic content of the atmosphere is, I can't remember if it's positive or negative. I think it's a negative. And so the first thing I thought of there was chemtrails. I mean, all these chemtrails that are all over the sky. It's fucking barium and aluminum, and they create these negative ionic regions in the general area. They've allegedly outlawed them in Tennessee. But I mean, those are all over any city you go to. Like, those are all over. And then on top of that, you have the rollout of a lot of these EMF systems, things like 4G, 5G, 6G that's being tested right now, where they're pumping out a lot of these electromagnetic frequencies. And I know it sounds, I hate talking about this around regular people because I know it sounds fucking insane, but these things are creating environments where, forget the shit you see on your phone. Right? Forget that stuff. Environments where people are far more susceptible to whatever kind of MK ultra traumatic brain control is coming through to them on their television or their phone or their computer. Like, we're creating areas where people are more susceptible to this concept. And the terrifying thing is a lot of them are kind of like walking zombies insofar as they'll look at you and they'll say, yes, I would love to get away from this bullshit. Like, it's so bad here. And then they'll continue to live the exact same way. They'll continue to suck at the teat of whatever bullshit nonsense, their 501c3 church or their boss says at work. They'll continue to engage in that system without ever actually doing anything. It just gives them like that dopamine boost of saying, yes, I'm a good person. I said I wanted to go do for myself, and damn it, I'm doing so good. Like, we went to a farm to table restaurant last week, and it was so fucking phenomenal. They gave us a suckling pig that they killed right outside. That sumbitch was still squealing. I heard it. That fucking thing was delicious. My husband, he's 400 pounds overweight, but he ate that shit up. Like, it's those kinds of people.
Yeah.
And I just point something out real quick. So we had a guest, Wayne McRoy, which if you like the subject you were just talking about, you should definitely talk to him. If you have any trouble getting through to him, I will email him for you. Wayne McRoy. Ask me for his contact info after. I'll send it to you.
Will do.
Anyway, he's neck deep in this, extremely knowledgeable. And when we had him on, he was talking about all the EMF stuff. One thing I would point out that the average person would be able to digest is, so like I'm an electrician. We do some line work with the linemen, And this is just a way to plainly put it for somebody. So when you see like a substation on the sides of the roads or wherever, right? They usually have a fence on them. And it'll say, don't touch the fence due to risk of electric shock. Those fences are not energized. There's no electric fence. The reason why it says that is because it picks up residual energy from the power lines and grounds into the fences. And if you walk up and you grab that fence and you don't have the right shoes on, whatever, it's going to ground you and you get hit. You get hit with a ton of potential energy that's coming off of the power lines. The more draw there is, the bigger it is. The easiest way to show somebody that these things are there is to explain that to them. That like, if it just because you can't see it doesn't mean it isn't there. And if you can articulate that well enough to them, then they can kind of conceptualize the idea that, yeah, EMF is a thing and it can be dangerous. And if it can do that to a fence, what is it doing to you? Right? Like our body runs on electrical impulses, our brains, our muscles, everything. So, like what is that doing to you? Now, take a whole bunch of people and stack them on top of each other in a city, which we talked about this with Owen Benjamin. People are not supposed to live like that. And you can tell from the environment that's created. That's why there's such a big difference in between the cities and the rural. Like when people are walking around the cities, they're generally agitated most of the time, right? They're kind of always looking over their shoulder because things are happening around them that wouldn't normally happen, right? It's a compounding issue. There's a lot of other things, societal and everything else, but it's an easy way to explain that to somebody that really doesn't get it, is like, this stuff exists, it's real, and like in the wrong situation it can actually kill you. And even though you don't think it isn't there, it is.
Dude, yeah, that's so true. We have a ton of fucking, no offense, Drew, a ton of fucking Californians and New Yorkers moving here to Columbia, and they always walk around and they're like, oh my gosh, these people are so nice. Like they are so nice. Like they look at you when you walk by. It is amazing. This is like a fucking Hallmark movie. Like it's and you see how unnatural the way these people have been living must have been. Like the biggest city I've lived in, I think, was Memphis, and it was an absolute just shithole full of shit people, just a garbage city full of garbage, like terrible town. And it's no New York, it's no Los Angeles, it's none of these places where these people are moving from. But when you walk down the street there, you got a fundamentally different reaction than you do in the tiny town full of, like, what are we, 40, 50,000 people now, John, that I live in, which does, to be fair, Californians, please don't move here, but it does feel like a Hallmark movie. Like you walk down the street and people react to you like you're a real human being. And it almost seems like with the changes in the educational system, with the changes in the way people have lived, and I mean, we talk about this regularly on our show, but like these demons, these principalities, whatever we're fighting against, have made these like little changes so slowly over so much time. Like people have gotten so used to how unnatural it is to live stacked on top of each other in a matchbox in 100-story building. That is such an insane thing to do. That's a fully retarded thing to do. I mean, what the hell are you doing with yourself?
Yeah, I mean,
well, they don't realize it. Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
Because it's like they've gotten those people to deny their natural impulses over and over and over again. Like as you walk outside and walk down the sidewalk and you're looking over your shoulder because you think someone's going to mug you, that should change your behavior the next day. But when you do it again and you do it again and you do it again, you're conditioned to think that's normal. It's the same way, like, drill sergeants condition people for the military. It's like they bring them into their fight or flight, responses and then make them do nothing. Right. And if you do that over and over and over and over and over again, eventually you kind of become susceptible, you become docile, and you'll just kind of listen, and you won't recognize, the situation that you're in at that point.
Yeah, that's all part of Agenda 21. Everybody in cities, stack them up high, get everybody's mentality wrapped around that's the way life should be. Like we should all be in the busiest, overcrowded places. We should all live in tiny little condominiums or like 1-bedroom apartments, 2-bedroom, whatever they call those fancy 1-bedroom apartments.
Oh, like studios.
They want want that to be the norm. They want that to be the norm. But like you were saying, with the mentality and the attitude, every time in my life, and it's been hundreds of times that let's just say I take a road trip. I'm driving to Pennsylvania. I'm driving to Florida. 2 hour, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, 7 hour ride down to South Carolina. I could see the behavior of the drivers when I'm going through like Maryland or like, I'm in PA. Like if I'm in the left express lane and I'm coming up behind somebody, still a shock. Like usually people will like, oh, somebody wants to pass, and they get out of the way and they pass. I tell the story every time I go, like, you don't even believe when I'm driving. People get out of your way, and sometimes I don't realize it. Maybe I'm doing like, I don't feel it's aggressive, because where I'm from, aggressive driving takes on a whole new meaning. But to them out there, maybe I did like a lane change a little too fast. I didn't endanger anybody, but like I'll get a little impatient at a light where they're like doing a slow turn. I'm honking on like, let's go. And I get these looks, and I'm like, wow, I'm turned up to 1,000. And then, I go back home, and it's back to the rat race shit show where it's like a drag race, people cutting in front of me, jamming on the brakes, or people getting out in the middle of traffic and the biggest freeways. And there's a melee fist fight, like people on the hood of the car fighting, people going around them, like cheering, everybody's recording the video, and it's business as usual. Like not like once or twice a day, it's like everywhere. And it's like you go to other places where it's more spread out, it's more rural, and you can feel the change in people's behavior and their energy, the way they look at you, the way they talk. You're going to get your asshole who's going to like, all right, this asshole's looking to get knocked out. He's like, talking shit and being an idiot. But generally, the energy, the invisible, unseen energy, the air, the smell, the feel is different. I feel it when I go out to Stack's Farmstead. I feel the difference. I can't even figure words to describe it. I just feel like something is different, like a weight off me. It's just like a different feel, and it's great. And then I come back into the city, and I get the visual, and I come back in, and maybe it's the EMF, also the increased density of the EMF, and it's just this feeling comes over me, and I'm like, oh, here we go. And I got to readjust my mindset to like now, be acclimated to where I'm at in that moment. And it's a real thing. It's an unseen thing. You can't see it or touch it, but it's there. I very much believe in that. And
the city folk that are out there driving on the highways, I can tell you're from a city right away because they don't know that there's a passing lane and a driving lane. That's how you can tell right away that they're from the city, because they stay in that passing lane the whole way down the highway.
Now,
I'm
going to say
They
this.
do.
It's not that they don't know. They don't give a shit. Because I can't tell you how many times a day I'm in the left lane. Like, this is the express lane, passing lane. If you want to drive 40 in a 55, be in the right lane or the middle lane. And I come up around them, and I'm looking at them, and they don't like, they don't care. Everybody's got to go around me. Fuck you. That's the attitude. They don't care. And it's like when you took your driver's exam at the DMV in New York, because I did it, it says that you had to learn this to pass the written exam. So it's not like you don't fucking know. You don't care. And that's the vibe out here. Nobody cares. And I'm in PA, and somebody sees me coming up behind them, and they get out of my way, like to be courteous, and just like, this is the unspoken rules of the road. This is even if it's a cruising lane, and they don't have to get out of the lane. They'll most of the time get out of the way. There's a consistent color.
There's a consistent skin color associated with those actions. Just to be clear, just so we're clear, there is.
New York, everybody's white, Chinese, Russian, Jewish, black. Everybody's doing it in New York.
Dude, around here they're all middle-aged women. Like literally every single one of them is like a 35 to 52-year-old woman. All of them, every single one. They're all Karens.
Yeah.
It's just horrifying.
That is bad. Karens. Oh no.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're the new satanic cult. Like, forget fucking Anton LaVey and Satanism. Karens are the new. Yeah, they scare me. I'm not a fan. But to your point, Stacks, I think you mentioned this. Like, being in a city and the electrical impulses around you. Like, even this was one of the things that Tom Cowan I think you mentioned it in The Contagion Myth, John. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But he also wrote another book on like the human heart. And human beings project like this electrical field. I think it's like around 6 to 8 feet outside of the human body. And we pick up on that shit. I mean, our whole bodies are these like EMF receivers almost, right? I mean, if you look
Yeah.
at like the map of the nervous system, it looks almost like an antenna. Like it really does. It looks almost like an antenna. Our bodies receive that kind of energy. I mean, most EMF is absorbed by water, right? What are we? Mostly water. Water has a memory. Water remembers shit. If you don't believe that, I mean, there are a ton of like regular full-on NIH science papers out there talking about how water molecules have this weird-ass fucking memory. And I don't know how it works, but they do. And when you're constantly
Snowflakes. It happens in snowflakes as well. That when they're formed, it's from the energy around it. That's why they look different. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I mean, yeah, and so when you're around that, I mean, it's all the people living in this fight or flight syndrome. It's also all of the MK Ultra type programming that people get in those areas. I mean, even when I turn my TV on here at my place, I try to stay away from it as much as possible. Like even if you scroll on your phone, like that's probably the worst. Where every other scroll or whatever the hell people are looking at, they're seeing either somebody's head getting blown off, massive tits, or something to make them laugh. Like it's one of those three things constantly. Boring tits, boring head blown off, boring Charlie Kirk, boring Sydney Sweeney. Like it's the same shit that they use in fucking MK Ultra programming while they're feeding people LSD and shocking them just on you while you're falling apart due to whatever circumstances they placed you in. Because I mean, the modern educational system teaches people to be dependent on this system. We call it the slavicational system on our show, which is a retarded name. But yeah, sorry, I got a little lost in the weeds there. But yeah,
the Prussian education system is what the modern U.S. education system is modeled after, and the Prussian education system was made to make workers and soldiers, people that would take orders without question, which is why they teach the way they teach. The one person that's the authoritative source that sits in the front of the class, they have the answers, and they tell you when to get up, when to sit down, when you can go to the bathroom, look here, don't say anything. When the bell rings, you get up and go, right? Like that's programming, right? So, when you do that to a child, especially when they're being told to listen to their teachers. They're being told to listen to the directions that they're being given. When you don't have that filter to know, it's the same thing as when you're watching TV. You're watching TV, you're absorbing all this nonsense. And you don't have, most people, I don't mean you or anybody in particular, but most people don't have that filter to see the propaganda. They just absorb it. Because, there's one other upside to doing what I do. No time for TV. But when I do happen to put on a show, it's like my wife would attest to this, but I'll be like, see, like it's the meme, right? With Leonardo DiCaprio. It's like, oh, because that's what it is. You point it out right away. You're like, yeah, that's it. More bullshit, right? Even changing the color of characters that are historically white to black. This is it's all part, but if you don't recognize it, you absorb it. And then, it's like you don't have a choice. Now it becomes part of you. It becomes part of your thinking. And so that's why it's like we homeschool. Like we homeschool. Fuck that, dude. I mean, I don't, again, the only thing that we could point to all the flaws, but the answers require work. And that's where the problem lies for most people is that, they're just, once they figure out what the work takes, how much it is, it's sort of insurmountable because you have to want it so badly that you're willing to sacrifice a lot to do it. Or you could be a comfortable slave because these are basically the choices. You can be the comfortable slave and do what you're told, or you can work nonstop to build something. And here's the upside. If you have a family, if you have kids, work less than you did because you built it. They have to maintain it. That's what my focus is. It's like, I'm not doing any of this for me. If it was just me, I could be doing anything else, right? But like when you have a family, when you have kids that look up to you and you know what you see around you, the propaganda that happens constantly, how they're taught to be the worker bees in school, it's like no more. That ends here. And when they get old enough to understand, I'll explain all that other stuff to them. But here's something to start with. When I'm gone, this is yours. Keep going. And so, like, if that was enough for me to be like, I will work until my body is broken. And that's just the way it's going to be. I'm just going to keep going and going and going nonstop. I'll probably hit an early grave, but it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it because I'll know that they'll be better off than I was.
Dude, that offers so much perspective, I think. It's like, I don't have kids. A lot of my friends don't have kids. But the people I'm close to that do, the way it fundamentally changes your perspective on your role in whatever this plane is, I don't think there's a replacement for that. Like, I don't think there's a thing you can tell somebody or, a book you can tell some retard to read that's going to replace the level of perspective you have, because you're forced essentially to acknowledge your own mortality, for one, and you're also forced to have a perspective about the future, right? Because you have this life in your hands, and eventually I'm not going to be able to protect this. This is mine right now. I'm here to protect it. Eventually I'm not. Eventually I'm going to die. So like, you have to acknowledge your mortality. And then on top of that, you have to realize, okay, how can I build a world and existence for this thing, this life, right? That's going to continue to provide for them later on. And maybe that's instilling in them values that help them continue, like you're talking about, continue on the work you're doing now to build a life for yourself and your family. But you're forced to realize so many things. I just don't know what replacement there is for that out there. Like, parenthood seems like a shithole in a lot of cases. I'm sure you never sleep, but it also seems like it provides such a level of perspective to people outside of myself as a retard. Yeah.
We have a command from God: be fruitful and multiply. And it's simply a trade-off. You're going to, a lot of people say this, and I remember hearing it when I was younger and rolling my eyes at it, but having children changes you. It changes you. The perspective of the fear and the uncertainty of caring for that, for a prospective child, right? From somebody that isn't ready to do it yet, doesn't quite understand it.
Right.
When you have a child, when they're that newborn and they're in your arms in that 9 months leading up to it, it changes you. And I know that it's just one of those things that people say, and until you cross that bridge, you don't really understand it. But it stops being less about you and more about them. And so whenever that happens, you switch up from, this isn't about me anymore. If you are a decent person, I should say, because there's some scumbag parents out there that don't give a shit, and the poor kids are just aimless through life, and then we end up with more scumbag people. But I mean, the point is,
happy Juneteenth to all of our absentee fathers out there. I'm sure you're all celebrating it.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I look at it like that. It's biblical. Be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. Like, even this, do a summary of the Bible, and you can basically do pretty well for yourself. And the happiness comes with it. Like, Father's Day is Sunday, and they're pumped to give me presents that they made and all this stuff. It's like, that's not something you can copy. Okay. So like, there's this thing where people say, I don't know if I'm ready to have a kid. I hate to break it to you, but nobody's ever ready to have a kid. Just have the kid. Find the girl, have the kid, make it work, figure it out. That's how we do this. Like, you know what I mean? Look, when my wife got pregnant, she was my girlfriend. I was living in that studio apartment, and I was like, I'm not, because I grew up rough, dude. I grew up in the city. I grew up on the streets. I was a fucking criminal at 12. I don't want that for them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want that for them. So I did everything I could to change that for them. See what I mean about the change? Like how it changes you? Like, I had nothing when I started. Absolutely nothing. She said, I'm pregnant. I said, I'm finding a house. Like, and I made it happen. And there's so many people, because it's a mindset where they're going to tell themselves, I can't do it. I'll never be able to own a house. Keep saying that and you never will. Keep saying it and you never will. You can create your own reality. You can do this. It's in your mind. If you keep saying you can't do something, you're not going to do it. You got to keep saying, I'm going to find a way. I'm going to find a way to make this work. Fuck them. I don't care about their loans. I don't want their loans. I'm going to find a way. I bought my house from a biker. Being from the streets, I shook hands with this biker. We got to meet each other, and he's like, whatever this takes, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I'm selling you this house. Like, like, you just never know. You never know how things are going to work out, but it's got to start with a mindset. If I didn't say, I need this to do this, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to make it happen, if I didn't start there, it would have never happened. If I'd be like, I don't know how to get out of Pittsburgh. Nobody knows how to get out of Pittsburgh. Everybody I know wants to stay in Pittsburgh, and I'm never going to be able to do anything ever again because I don't know where to start. Dude, it's like, start the engine and hit the fucking gas. Let's go. It's like no better time than now.
Yeah. And one of the things you mentioned was like this command from God, right? What's the, like, one of the biggest commandments in the Bible? Maybe the first commandment given to mankind: be fruitful and multiply. One of the things that I think gets people stuck in this world, because you're right. Like, I've said exactly what you mentioned. I've said I'm not ready to have kids, right? I've said that personally. One of the things that I think gets people stuck in part is this 501c3 system that exists, the church system that exists, to essentially take the spiritual portion of people who are really looking for, like, truth, who are looking for real fucking reality, who are looking to go out and have an experience like the Creator intended. It almost like alchemizes it into something that's hellaciously toxic, because you take people who have a desire to experience reality, to have a girlfriend look at them, say, I'm pregnant, and say, I'm finding a fucking house. Like, exactly that kind of experience. You have people who are looking for experiencing real reality with real people in a real way. And what does it do? It makes you feel fucking guilty for you just don't have enough faith to go find a house. Have enough faith, and the Lord's gonna find you a house. He'll fucking find you a house. Your gam's gonna die and leave you a house. Like, and it makes people feel like shit when maybe life's not perfect and they just need to continue to do the work, right? To do the hard shit. But it's like, you don't have enough faith. You're a bad person. And the way a lot of this, what?
I'm sorry, I don't mean to. I just wanted, because a church is like, I'm a Christian, right? But I don't belong to any denomination, because I can't find a church that makes sense. I don't find God in a church. I find God in nature. That's where I get most connected. When it's quiet, I'm working, and I stop and I'm like, I look around and I go, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to have this opportunity, because I'm standing on my property that I could have never have conceived ever being possible. And I have a level of gratitude that's unexplainable for most people, because most people just want more. I want more and more and more. And I'm like, I'm so glad to have what I have, that I'm not looking for more, right? But as far as the churches, it's like, I just explained this on one of the last shows we had with Jules, and it's like, I've thoroughly looked, and there's not a place that I could see myself, because it's everything from rainbow flags to worshiping Israel, and I'm not anywhere in there. You know what I mean? So I don't know that, like, there's not a place for me in one of these 501c3s, and I don't think you need to have a place. If that's good for you, if that's where you want to be, if that does something for you, I'm all for it. But I'd like to advocate that, like, it's not necessary. Like, you don't need a building to connect with God. But if you like one and it helps you, go for it. I'm just saying that, like, I don't know that I belong in any of those places, because I haven't found one that makes any sense. Even the people in there, they put on this camouflage of Christian, but they're, you know what I mean? Like, and they walk the walk and they talk the talk, but they're not what they try to portray themselves to be. Most of them, it's just very strange. They're envious. They talk shit on each other, and it's like, I don't want to be involved in that. I don't want to be involved in that.
Dude, I mean, you're exactly right. John and I can tell you firsthand. I mean, we grew up in that system. That was our world growing up. Like, went to the same church. The high school we both went to was essentially run by that church and the ones around it. And so I can tell you firsthand, like, that you're exactly correct about the way you view these systems and these people. And I, for one, like, the more I read, because I really started reading the Bible. This is going to sound retarded. I really started reading the Bible when I stopped going to church services, because to me that made a lot more sense than sitting down and hearing some retard pastor tell me for the 18th time, what they reclined when they ate in the Bible. Did you know that? Did you know they reclined sometimes when they ate? Isn't that fucking fascinating? Like, okay, how does that help me in any way, shape, or form? Like, it's fucking retarded. Why are we talking about this?
Listen, 2 or 3 gathered in my name is all that's required.
It's the conflation of community with spirituality, right? Because I will argue tooth and nail, right? That Christianity is probably, almost certainly your best path to salvation, okay? But that path isn't found in some kind of building. I would suggest, people are looking for community. They're not looking for church, right? And there's this whole discussion in the Bible about like how the community is the church, and a lot of these religious systems try to use that to legitimize their existence, which for me is another big issue. But I think, and John, you may want to weigh in on this before I say something that'll get me shot next time I walk by a church here in town. I think that a lot of these churches, like you're talking about, use biblical truth essentially to lead people down the wrong path. It seems borderline satanic to me, the way a lot of these organizations seem to be co-opted. It seems like exactly what I would want to do if I was some Luciferian trying to figure out how to take a good concept and make it as confusingly evil as possible.
Book
Well,
of
I mean,
Book of
go
Eli.
ahead.
Listen, wait, Drew, just wait. Let John finish, because I know he knows where I'm going to go as soon as John's done. Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, they've adopted like just the entire worldly model of like, hey, you exist to sustain yourself. That is it. That is your entire purpose, is you exist to just like keep yourself going. It's this weird like consumeristic kind of mindset, right? And like that's all these places are kind of do, is like you don't exist to actually like, spread the gospel. You don't exist to you like grow that strong, tight-knit communities. Like you exist to kind of sustain yourself and just kind of continue this weird like cycle on down the road, members in, members out, money in, money out kind of thing. And like the biggest thing is like the deception is where it's like they've stepped in and like they've essentially said that that's God, right? Most of these places say it's like, hey, you can't find God without these places. So it's like, if you're saying that, then you're saying you're God. Like that's the logical conclusion there. So it's like, I think that's where it's like where I look at that and like where I think the danger is. It's like, hey, if you're stepping in this place as God, or saying like this is the only place you can find God, then that's what you're saying you are, and that's a problem.
100%.
Yeah.
Drew knows, and I love this shit because the synchronicities of how this comes up so frequently. But it's my best example to explain exactly what you're talking about. Have you ever seen the movie The Book of Eli?
No, I need to. I've heard it's worth watching.
Okay, so the storyline is very important for what we're talking about, because it's an apocalyptic time, and there's not a lot of written anything anymore, and there's a bad guy that's in charge of a lot of different things, and he wants that Bible badly. The reason why he wants the Bible is for the same reason that the church uses it, because he's going to use the word of God to his benefit. He's going to be the sole proprietor of the last Bible, and he's going to interpret that and use it to his benefit as he preaches to people that are listening. He's going to be the filter. And so when you look at that storyline and then look at religion throughout history, like they weren't even allowed to know how to read the Bible or Latin. They would kill them if they did that back in the day, early European. You were not allowed to own a Bible, and you were not allowed to know how to read Latin. If they caught you doing that, they would burn you at the stake. So like this is the reason that, you know, like whenever I see stuff like this, it's like that perspective is extremely helpful for me. And because it comes up so frequently, and I knew Drew was gonna, he knew what I was gonna say, because it's a constant theme where it comes up as soon as you hit on this. And that's so true that, you know, if you use the word, if you consider yourself to be the source and you're going to be the one that portrays what the Bible says, you are now acting as God. So like that's why it's important to be able to recognize, you know, when you go to these congregations, who the people are, what they're doing, what they're saying. You know, and there's always a roof fund, isn't there? There's always a roof fund at a church. Everyone's got to put their money in the basket for the
Oh
roof
my
fund.
gosh,
Right?
yes, there is. Or there are kids going to camp, or there's fucking we got to build an out back. We got to build, folks. Do something. Give to the Lord today. Like it, yeah. There's always a
And
roof.
don't take it the wrong way. I'm not shitting on churches. It's important to have that perspective, because you know the church can do a lot of good things, but it's just like a gun. Like it's who's wielding it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, philosophically, you're talking about ideally like just a group of people who all have the same like spiritual beliefs, but the problem comes in when there are a lot of good people in a lot of churches. I'm not saying they're all bad, but the problem comes in when the people that control it start, I mean, John, you said it perfectly, you too, Stat, like when they start pretending to be God, when they start saying, I have the truth, let me give it to you. That's not the way this shit works. Like anybody who's sat down and really pondered their fucking existence knows whatever we are doesn't have the knowledge we need to impart, like honest to goodness, capital T truth to all the other people. We just don't. Like we can share like our personal experience and concepts we have and shit like that. But from on a spiritual level, there's one source of truth, and that's the Creator. Whatever you believe, like that's the Creator, capital T, capital C, that's the Creator. And when you masquerade as that, I would argue you're nothing more than like Satan, the adversary, the thing in the garden that said, hey, you want to be God? Let me tell you how you can figure that shit out.
Yep. It's just funny, dude. I'm sitting here thinking to myself how often that comes up, and I can't help myself. I'm like, Book of Eli. You got to watch out.
Well, I mean, it's all
It's
like
just
I
one of those
can't
wild
remember.
things.
Yeah, I can't remember who said it. It may have been Tripoli, but like all conspiracy roads, all of these roads typically lead back to spirituality, and it's true. Like if you,
That's where the truth lies. That's why.
Yeah.
Like when you're searching for the truth, it'll take you to the truth eventually, and the truth is Christ in the Bible. Like it's just that simple. Like I mean, again, perspective and how you look at things is always necessary, but you know, it's the truth, man. That's just the way I've been doing shit like this for a while, and I stress test all of this constantly because I want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. And that's the truth, man, is that, you know, you don't need a church to connect to God. It's not a bad thing to have a church to connect to God. I don't tell people that they shouldn't do it. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, you don't necessarily need it. And I don't know, even right now, like having these like little synchronicities and revelations, it's like I put my head down and I work my ass off and I pop my head up every once in a while. And then I realize I'm on a podcast in a building that I built in the middle of the woods on a farm that I made with my bare fucking hands. You know what I mean? And it was like,
Yeah.
because what I'm trying to relay today is what got me all the way through that process of years of doing it, of like, you know, following the teachings and putting in the work. And, you know, like, it's just one of those things where every once in a while, just you pop your head up and you're like, damn, we got a far way. We came so far, you know?
Yeah. And that's why I don't always agree with all the people who like to shit on Jordan Peterson, which I've been known to do that myself from time to time. But it seems to me like
I mean,
a lot
he
of
went
his
to the
message,
Daily Wire and he gave up his right for people to not shit on him after that. But
and that's fair. That's fair. Okay. He's a shill, and I have no disagreement with that. But I think the types of things he espouses, this whole idea of like the Bible and spiritual teachings just being fucking practical, makes so much sense to its very core. I'm not talking about the clean your damn room stuff, but like the whole idea of if you choose to accept the the truth of biblical text, which is, this whole concept. It sounds so kitschy that I don't even like saying it anymore because I heard it so much growing up. But this whole idea of like Jesus died for you, you have a spirit, it has meaning, it's worth something. Go do shit, right? Because that's his whole thing: is go do shit. Don't sit around and jerk off to videos on your phone. Go do shit. I think the message of the Bible is so powerful that even somebody who seems to be essentially like an industry plant and a shill, albeit a brilliant one, good stuff leaks through, even though I think he really is on a lot of levels full of shit, because the tool he's using is, I guess, still useful to some degree. I don't know. It seems like it leads people to better places. Oh, that makes sense. But
he was on SSRIs, and I think it fucked him up. I mean, because like I get what you're saying. Like people can speak truth and be full of shit at the same time. It's your job to decipher it.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's where, like, the wisdom, the guidance of being able to figure that out. For me, it has to come through a biblical lens. That's how I pick it out. That's how I go, nope, that's not right. And then the stuff that is true, it's able to shine brighter. I'm like, yeah, right, because it says something like that in the Bible. Here's the teachings. This is how it reflects in my life. Like, for me, that's how I can kind of guide myself through it. But Peterson, I just, again, I think he was okay in the beginning, but he got on SSRIs, and that shit's like salt on the brain. So, I mean, if he's not like physically different, he's definitely mentally a different person. Like he's fucking shot now, dude. The Israeli Wire is not the place to be today.
Yeah, I mean, how the hell does he wind up there of all places? Yeah, that's weird as shit. Him and fucking that. My favorite Candace Owens quote is that quote she had about Ben Shapiro. She's like, "Fuck you and the midget horse you rode in on." That might be my favorite thing I've ever heard her say. It's definitely up there. All right, guys. Anything else? I feel like this is a decent place to end it on spirituality, but I mean,
I just want to add something real quick though. I watched some of the last couple of shows you guys did, and I'm just gonna throw John some props because he's quiet, but whenever he comes in with bangers. It's like some real. And he'll just unload with some insightful shit after being quiet for the last 20 minutes or so. Keep it up, dude. You're doing good.
All that quality over quantity.
Yeah.
hell yeah.
It's switching cameras and usually reading what you're saying in the chat.
He stays so damn busy over there.
Yeah.
I have to keep running my mouth to fill time half the time on our shows. Yeah. No, that's true though, John. You when you do talk, it's typically valuable. I support that. I support that opinion. For sure. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much. This has been a ton of fun. I guess tell people where they can find you again, and we'll wrap this shit up.
Sure. Stacks Farmstead, YouTube, Rumble, and X. In the future, we will be expanding onto other platforms. It's going to take time because I don't have time. So, we'll get it figured out. But every Wednesday, 8:00 typically. We've been recently getting guests that, just in my opinion, we should not be getting because there's some crazy, I don't know what's happening. There's the fact that we got Owen and Crow and a couple other people to come on, David from NDS. I don't,
Yeah,
it's just
your show with Owen killed, man. That was awesome.
I appreciate it. He's a good dude. And just for that, on that, he's a solid guy. And that's hard. It's difficult to see in somebody that does what he does. But Owen's actually a decent dude, a very decent dude. He did us a big favor coming on, and I always will appreciate that.
Hell yeah.
You can find me on X, Shit Show Co-host, and on Instagram, Luminary Mixdown. And I want to thank you guys very much for bringing us on your show and letting us chop it up. It was great.
Hell yeah. It's been a good time, guys. Thanks for taking the time. All right, guys, go follow Stacks, follow Drew, go all the places, follow all the things.
Yeah, hit the QR code in the left corner.
Always forget that.
That'll take you to Stacks' YouTube because trying to get monetized over there.
Yes,
Hell
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Sweet. All right, folks. Well, if you missed us going over our schedule in the beginning of the show, rewind it.
We'll do.
Neff Hunter will do. Yeah, we'll shoot him. We'll shoot him your email.
And
Neff
he
Hunter's
will.
been-
He will do that, and he will.
Yeah.
He will be on your ass to make sure you do it. He's on Carson's ass to make sure he does. He emails people. So
Yeah, that's
it's
how we've
very-
ended up with any guests at all. Is
It's
Neff
very
Hunter
helpful.
just makes me do things. He's
I'm down. You know what? I just remembered. I don't want to keep you on much longer, but I just
No,
remembered.
you're
Did you
good, dude.
guys get
Oh, fun.
Doc Brown on too?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
just had him on this past week.
Outstanding.
Dude,
Good
it
for
was a
you.
blast. Yeah, he's a good one.
Wow.
Yeah, hit him up. If y'all haven't had him on, hit him up. It was fucking brilliant. Like his take on Esau is just wild, man. I could have stayed talking to him for hours. Like I was just completely enamored with like all the
Good
knowledge
for you
he had.
guys. Right. Good for you guys. I'm glad to see that, man. That's awesome. And I think he's a pretty good dude. I watch a lot of his shows, and yeah, the Esau thing it's pretty insightful. I think there's something there.
Yeah, well, and even all this stuff surrounding it. Like he talks about this garment that was passed down from like Satan to Adam and then all the way down to Elijah. Like that is such an insane concept that I'd never heard before. Like it's rare you run across an original thought. And he's one of probably the few people that have actually had one. I know I've had none in the entirety of my life. He's had at least one, and that's like genuinely impressive to me. Genuinely impressive. Yeah, phenomenal human being.
Yeah.
For sure.
Love to talk to him. Maybe we can make that happen. That'd be great.
Hell yeah. Yeah. I can't remember where we messaged him, but yeah, I'll let you know after the show. We'll try to figure that out because he was pretty responsive too. I was shocked. That was another one Neff Hunter made me message back and forth. So, all right, folks, we probably should wrap this up. Y'all, thanks for doing this again. Guys, thanks for listening, and we'll catch y'all on the next one. Bye.